After Roe v. Wade was overturned because of Donald Trump's Supreme Court justice picks, Tennessee put forth a ban immediately that banned all abortion with no exceptions other than to preserve life of the mother. But I didn't qualify for that exception here because I wasn't sick enough yet. I'm Allie Phillips.
I'm Brian Lynch.
And we are a married couple here in Clarksville, Tennessee. In the fall of 2022, my husband and I had just bought our house and found out that we were expecting a new baby. We were really excited, and my daughter Allie was thrilled to become a big sister. Everything was going fine until my routine anatomy scan at 19 weeks pregnant, where we found out some of the worst news that any expecting parent could hear.
She had multiple fatal fetal anomalies. Half her organs didn't form correctly. Her lungs weren't there. Her heart only had 2 working chambers, and she had a brain defect where it didn't split all the way. So it was just a really unfortunate cluster of issues.
And with all of that combined, my doctor told me that Miley was not compatible with life, and that the longer I stayed pregnant, the worse she was going to get and the higher risk my health was going to become. And knowing that I had a little girl here that I needed to live for, I didn't want to put my life at risk by continuing a pregnancy with a non-viable fetus. We had to make the very difficult decision to terminate, and so we chose to fly out of state to preserve my life, fertility, and health. I arrived to a clinic 10 days after my high-risk appointment, and unfortunately I had to go in alone. My husband wasn't allowed to go with me inside the clinic, and within a couple hours I found out that my daughter Miley no longer had a heartbeat, and I was then at risk of going septic. So I had to undergo an emergency abortion within an hour of finding out that my daughter was gone, without my husband, without my family, and without my doctors by my side.
That was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. The situation in itself was bad enough, but knowing that my wife was so far away in such a new environment, and she was hurting and she needed me and I just wasn't allowed to be there. It was awful. It makes you feel so defeated. And on top of that, I was sad about, losing my daughter. And it was just a very emotional and just very difficult time.
The horrors that women can and will face under a Trump presidency is already here. Just look at me and look at my story. Women here and in other 13 states that have banned abortion are living in what they want the rest of the country to live in. I want to make sure people realize the effects that these policies have and the undue trauma that it will cause to you.
Well, and Trump's vice president pick, J.D. Vance, wants to federally block women from seeking healthcare out of state, which means if that would have been in effect, we wouldn't have been able to go to New York, and my wife probably wouldn't be here today. That's just a reality that people need to understand.
Somebody you love, somebody you know, somebody you're close to has had an abortion or will need one in the future. This is healthcare, period. Make sure you show up to vote this November and vote for the people that are protecting freedoms of all Americans.